Welcome to Amateur Rig Veda, where I, an amateur, try to understand the Rig Veda through an English translation. Today we have Hymn 1. Let's begin with the first line. I Lord Agni, the chosen priest, God, minister of sacrifice, the Hotar, lavishest of wealth. Straight away, I see there's a lot of information to unpack here. The first line is saying Agni is a chosen priest, which makes sense. Agni is a god. Agni is a minister of sacrifice, and Agni is the Hotar. Okay, what is the Hotar? I'm not really sure of what Hotar is. So when I'm unsure of a word, I go to Google, and I type the etymology of the word. Etymology is for me an easier way to understand the word rather than just take off the definition from Google. And Wiktionary, I feel, is a great resource for understanding the etymology and the origin of words. Now, I can see on the screen it's Hotar. When I look at I think it's Devanagari script. It's not Hotar, as I said earlier. There's no long R between the T and the R. It's just Hotar. And what Hotar is a person who's an offerer of oblation or yajna, sacrifice a priest, especially a priest who at a sacrifice invokes the gods or recites the Rig Veda. Okay, that's interesting. So the first line is saying Agni is the chosen priest, god, minister of sacrifice, the Hotar. And when I look at the definition of the Hotar, it appears that the first part of the first line initially is describing who a Hotar is. A Hotar is a Rig Veda priest. Okay, so Agni we know now is a Hotar, lavishest of wealth. Okay, that's a little strange for me because lavishest of wealth doesn't really follow from what the hymn is trying to say. So again, I go back and I check the etymology of lavishest, and lavishest is essentially most lavish. And when I look at lavish, it says expending or bestowing profusely. One of the meanings of lavish. It's also usually when I use lavish, I use it in as a way to say excessive. But one of the other meanings of lavish is also expending or bestowing profusely. So in this case, in the first line, for me it makes more sense to use bestowing profusely. So the first line I feel is giving a lot of information. It provides a lot of information about Agni. Agni is a chosen priest, god, minister of sacrifice, which we now know is Hotar, and Agni is lavishest of wealth, someone who bestows profusely, gives a lot of wealth. For me, it feels like okay, Agni is someone who will give wealth without restraints. Okay, great. We're off to a good start. The first line is telling us a lot about who Agni is. The first line of the first hymn, in fact, is telling us a lot about who Agni is. Agni is a Hotar who is a Rig Veda priest. Agni is a god. I know what a god means in the regular sense growing up in India, but I would like to know more what the Rig Veda means about God. So we'll probably find that out as we go along. And Agni is a bestower of wealth, a lavish bestower of wealth. Okay, so let's move on to the second line. Worthy is Agni to be praised by living as by ancient seers. He shall bring hitherward the gods. Okay, that's very nice. The second line essentially is saying Agni is so wonderful that he is worthy to be praised both by living beings as well as by ancient seers. And the fact that living appears next to ancient, I would assume these ancient seers are people who essentially passed away. And when I look at the meaning of seer, it's someone who foretells the future, clairvoyant, a prophet, a soothsayer, or a diviner. Essentially, for me, in this case, a seer means someone who who's knowledgeable about the future, something that is someone who has extraordinary knowledge, or it's someone who has knowledge that isn't common. So Agni is someone who has knowledge that is in common. And he shall bring hitherward the gods, the second part of the second line. So Agni is not only a god, Agni is also a god who brings other gods hitherward. And hitherward is just bringing here to the location that someone is referring to. So in this case, it would be whoever the invoker is who's reciting this hymn. The invoker is essentially saying Agni is someone who'll bring the gods hitherward, or the invoker saying Agni will bring the gods here where I am invoking Agni. So let's go to the next line. Through Agni man obtaineth wealth, ye is in this case, yes, plenty waxing day by day, most rich in heroes, glorious. Okay, one wonderful line, because not only in the first line we came to know Agni is a lavish bestower of wealth, and in this case, the invoker is saying, through Agni man obtaineth wealth or obtains wealth. Yes, plenty, plenty of wealth, waxing day by day. So waxing day by day is for me very interesting here, because waxing in this case I feel means to increase. So it appears that this line suggests through Agni one man can obtain wealth that increases day by day. And the second part, which says most rich in heroes, glorious, implies okay, Agni seems to not only have the capacity to bring the gods to those to the invoker or person invoking Agni. Agni is also rich in heroes, glorious. The rich in heroes part is not entirely clear as of now, but probably as we go along, the hymns will reveal that to us. Agni, the perfect sacrifice which thou encompassest about, verily goeth to the gods. Okay, so this line, okay, encompassest means encircle or cover. So I feel this line is saying very, and verily means certainly or truly. And I feel what this line of the hymn is saying is Agni is a god who will not only call other gods, but the sacrifice that Agni encircles will certainly go to the gods. Now, those of us who grew up in India, I feel this is a beautiful line for all of us, because we already know Agni is fire here in India, right? So, one of the things on this channel that I want to do as amateur Rig Veda is read the Rig Veda as an amateur. So, as an amateur, I would not know straight away that Agni is fire. I would just be reading this and I'd be like, okay, Agni is a god and Agni is a Rig Veda priest. So I would probably think, okay, Agni in mortal form is a priest or a god. But we also know here in India that Agni is fire. So this is very nice. It's actually a beautiful line here. The perfect sacrifice which thou encompassest, or which thou which Agni covers. So since Agni is fire, this line I feel is trying to say the sacrifice that Agni burns or encircles will truly go to the gods, will certainly go to the gods. So it appears the invokers are saying, okay, Agni, the parts of the sacrifice which you will burn thoroughly or which you will cover thoroughly will truly go to the gods. For me, it's almost as if the invokers are asking Agni or asking fire to burn the sacrifice well. May Agni, sapient minded priest, truthful, most gloriously great, the god, come hither with the gods. Okay, so sapient minded, sapient again, you can always go to dictionary. I've already gone and I've checked it out. Sapient is someone who is wise or who is knowledgeable. So it's very nice. The hymn repeatedly says Agni is someone, previously the hymn said Agni is worthy to be praised by seers. Seers are people who have knowledge that is in common. And now again it's saying Agni, may the sapient minded priest Agni, truthful, most gloriously great, come hither with the gods. So it appears the invoker is saying Agni is someone with wisdom, a wise priest who will come here with the gods. So it appears Agni's quality of being sapient will somehow help Agni bring the gods to wherever the invokers are. Whatever blessing Agni thou will grant unto thy worshipper, that Angiras is indeed thy truth. So this is for me very interesting, because it refers to Angiras, and when I checked out Angiras actually was a known person, a living person, a mortal person. So this is very interesting, because this is a Rig Veda hymn which is very old, and it's referring to a human being. So till now Agni was a god, and now Agni is being referred to as Angiras, and Angiras was a known sage, a person who contributed to a lot to the Vedic literature, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he was a Vedic sage. So I feel what's happening here is Angiras was a person. I feel as an amateur when I read this, the truth could be very well something different. When I read this, I feel Angiras was a person who researched on Agni, or knew Agni so well that after a while he began to display the traits of Agni in his daily life. And sometimes when people tend to display traits for God, you tend to, I mean, it's not uncommon or it's not unheard of to refer to them by the God's name. So I feel here what's happening is Angiras being referred to in the same vein as Agni, or Agni being called Angiras, is essentially Angiras being so invested in in Vedic knowledge that he began to display the traits of Agni, and eventually people referred to him as Agni, or refer to Agni as Angiras as a mark of respect for Angiras. To thee, dispeller of the night, O Agni, day by day with prayer, bringing thee reverence, we come. Okay, this is very interesting because I feel, growing up in India, we know Agni is fire, and if we didn't know Agni is fire, this line is actually quite beautiful. Agni is the dispeller of night. So as as we know, Agni is fire, so dispeller of the night pretty much follows. Okay, you use fire in the night, you have vision, you have light, so it's easy to see around. If we didn't know that Agni is fire, there's probably something more deeper here. Agni is a dispeller of night. Darkness could be anything, whatever you want to connect darkness to. So that I feel is interesting. Though I take it quite literally. I think it's just, fire being dispeller of night. Day by day with prayer, bringing the reverence we come. So the invokers are saying, with prayer and reverence, we are coming to you, Agni. So I feel, I'm currently somewhere around number 80 in the hymns. And there's a lot of non-linear arrangement in the Rig Veda, which is very nice because it takes a little bit of effort to deduce what's going on. Okay, the next one. Ruler of sacrifices, guard of eternal law, radiant one, increasing in thine own abode. Okay, wonderful, beautiful. Ruler of sacrifices, okay, we already know Agni is Hotar, so that kind of follows. Guard of eternal law. Now, those of you, I use Ralph T. Griffith's translation because I enjoy reading it. Those of you who want to read another translation, there's also Dr. Tulsi Ram's translation on the Internet Archive, which gives you the Sanskrit original context, the original text, along with the translation, so you can actually go check out what these words are referring to. So if you want to cheat, well, I shouldn't say if you want to cheat. Why? It's not cheating. What I meant to say is I've cheated before. Yeah, actually, I shouldn't have said you. If you no, please, please go ahead and check out the other translations as well. If I remember correctly, law eternal is artha. So I think there's artha, dharma, and karma, and law eternal is artha. I think artha is like higher than dharma in terms of the law, like that connects everything together. But if I didn't know that, I would just go with law eternal. So I'll just continue with law eternal. I said it's artha because I feel law has a very strong emotion attached to it. So when someone says law eternal, I don't want to give an interpretation that okay, somehow these invokers are referring to something legal. They could be, but when you look at the original text, they're referring to artha, which I feel is a more metaphysical concept rather than something legal. Or so rather, what I meant to say is something legal or bound in laws of humans. So that's me cheating over there by giving you something that is not here in the translation. I'll try my best not to do that. Rather, I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy the English translation as of Ralph T. Griffith as is, without going too much into the Sanskrit, the original Sanskrit words behind it. Okay, so Agni is ruler of sacrifice, guard of eternal law, radiant one. Okay, that follows. Increasing in thine own abode. Increasing in thine own abode is something I feel very beautiful. So that line I feel tends to imply that Agni is confined to his own abode. Perhaps Agni won't leave his own abode unless there's a reason to. But Agni is also increasing in his own abode. So that's very interesting because if we know Agni is fire, then that's like saying okay, that's an increasing fire within the confines of the fire, wherever the fire is confined to. And if we didn't know Agni is fire, that statement would be like, okay, increasing in thine own abode. That, to me at least, it doesn't make much sense as an amateur. So I feel it's nice to have the context that Agni is fire there. Be to us easy of approach, even as a father to his son, Agni, be with us for our weal. Okay, let's get the difficult word out of the way. Weal is wealth or riches. So Agni, be with us for our riches. Okay, that makes sense because Agni is a bestower of wealth. Be to us easy of approach. So the invokers are asking, Agni is a god after all. So the invokers are perhaps asking here, requesting Agni to be an easy god to approach, even as a father to his son. So that's nice. Even as in uniform, as a father to his son. So it appears to imply here that since fathers have very even and consistent loves for their sons, the invokers are asking Agni essentially to be as a father to them as they are sons. So they're telling Agni, please love us as a father would love us as evenly as a father would love his son. So this is beautiful. I like the way the hymns are organized because sometimes the invokers, I feel, they go into being very respectful towards Agni, and also at the same time they request things of Agni which I would not, it won't immediately come to my mind. Like, Agni, be to us as easy of approach, even as a father to his son. So they're like telling the gods, be to us, as nice as a father is to his son. So that's very interesting about the Rig Veda and the hymns and things like that. Okay, so great. The first hymn had a lot of information. We know Agni is a Hotar, a Rig Veda priest. Agni is also a god. Agni is sapient, which means that comes from the hymn suggesting that Agni is worthy to be praised by ancient seers. And Agni brings other gods. So Agni is not only a god, Agni has a capacity to bring other gods. So that's very nice. And Agni is a rich god. Agni is a rich god because Agni is a lavish bestower of wealth, and Agni is most rich in heroes. Now, I feel the hymn did not really elaborate on what most rich in heroes means, and I don't feel. I mean, at least as of now, I don't feel it's an error. Actually, I mean, if unless I had to cheat, I haven't gone and checked out the Sanskrit translation for this, but I feel there's something more to being rich in heroes as compared to being someone who brings calls the gods. As in, what I'm trying to get at is, I don't feel gods and heroes are the same. So I hope the hymns reveal a little bit more about this aspect of Agni as we go along. Okay, so the first hymn was great. It had a lot of information about Agni and who Agni is. And that's all I have for you for today. Okay, you all have a wonderful day and a week ahead.